When I told you I couldn't find my emergency charger, this is not this bad here.
Charge it up.
No, I didn't. I don't have time to charge up.
Okay. Well, good morning, folks. This is Shippy the Explorer. We are here in a cool, wet morning in College Park. Welcome to this neck of the woods and to life and to another day of experience with this channel. Welcome. I say good morning to all of you and bless you. Have a wonderful day, but do stay with us through this period of this tape, because we are bound for the National Basilica, the Catholic Church, on a tour of Washington, D.C. There we go. Well, if you guys don't mind, I'm taping. I'm gonna tape my trip.
Oh, okay.
I'm Shippy the Explorer. I'm a vlogger.
On a stick. Have we been on film all this time?
No. I'm just cranking up. Well, this is Shippy the Explorer. I told you that we're gonna be on an exciting trip this morning, and here we are, Basilica of the National Shrine, Immaculate Conception. Here we go.
At the roundabout,
Always amazed at the landscaping of this place. So
yes, yeah, it is beautiful.
I guess they have
Like
money.
Christmas, I bet they're putting Christmas lights on.
Oh
now.
yeah, they're doing that. Same there. It's supposed to be, I think, one of the largest church building in the Western Hemisphere, I think. Visitor parking would be
left.
left down.
I think they're gonna let some folks out, but
Yeah. We can.
yeah, we can walk. You can keep going to parking.
You sure?
Yeah.
Well. Oh, make it like guys are putting up the Christmas decoration already. Look at that.
I'll go to parking with you.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
From there. So I'm going to try that when we come
Right. So don't enter, but you can hear I'm doing a vlogging in Chris.
back. Yeah.
I'm Shippy the Explorer. You know that I'm Shippy the Explorer.
Uh-huh.
You know that I'm Shippy the Explorer.
You never introduced him to it.
I thought I did. I'm a vlogger.
He's a GoPro.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen him use it before.
Yeah.
Oh. But he's a vlogger, so he's doing video.
So here we are. We made ourselves away from the park, and we are coming up to this magnificent building, and so we're in for a tour. If you come to Washington, D.C., United States, this is the treat you're in for. There. We go straight across. There we go.
Okay, have you heard from them, Bob? Okay.
Hello.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
There's the entrance.
Should have lunch.
You can have breakfast here too. You know that.
Yeah. Really?
Uh-huh.
We did before.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was saying this where we should have lunch.
I believe so. Maybe.
Well, the
Did
plans
you
is.
see the Zagers were here? Did anybody see the Zagers?
I've seen those eggers, so.
Okay, then maybe they must not have come. They were kind of iffy on coming anyway.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we're just waiting for Joyce and Sarah. So Joyce is.
Well, it's obvious they have displays of different things. Look at the displays. They have a gift shop, and you can just pop in and buy your stuff. Look at that.
Now she's 5'4", doing hip hop.
Here was baby Jesus.
Oh wow.
Oh my word.
Ooh, and this is the dining area that if you want to have breakfast. Wow. And if you haven't met Mother Teresa, here is Mother Teresa. Here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna sit too. I have a new engine, so I better rest it. It's not good to work the engine too much.
He has a YouTube channel, Shippy the Explorer.
I gave her a car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, we tune in to see where you are,
I know.
what you're up, if Shirley's, or if you're cooking something.
I know. You saw what we do? We have been on a cooking bench spree from last week. She has been inspired. She's a good baker. And my wife, I could cook, but for some reason she started to get into all these baking. So we have had cakes, buns, no cookies yet, breads. So I told her about Marshall case of when he got the bread machine and he was baking and he started to get too fat. Then we have to watch ourselves. Her husband, Marshall, yeah.
Yeah, remember we used to, there was a phase where you had these bread machines, so you just put everything in and it would,
And touched my belly and said, you know, you're fat. So I said, no, I'm pregnant. And then he has been trying to ask his mother for a baby for years. And then he come to me later and said, oh, you're gonna have a boy baby? I said, no, man doesn't have a baby. So I just realized his parents didn't talk to him about pregnancy or anything. Oh Lord. So I'm in trouble. That's my grandson. Yeah.
he's so cute. He came running out to greet us
Yeah.
on Sunday. How old is he?
11.
11.
Yeah. You look at yourself. I'll catch you guys in this light conversation. So he came in Sunday and he was, I understand he was leading everybody. And he likes to do that. I don't know where he got that from. Yeah.
This way.
All right. Here we go. The
Sash is our guy.
tour is on.
I'm gonna call Marie. I have Marie's number.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, she just,
Oh, good. You're getting us on film.
Yeah. Hopefully.
How's your walking?
Watch me. See if I'm. So this is a good test for me. See?
Okay, yeah. And on these hard floors, too.
Yeah, well, I have the soft shoes.
Oh, that's
So the tour is on, and we're about to find some secrets about this place. There we go. Look at all these names. Look. Wow.
Names everywhere. Who are they?
This is the lower level of our church. This church is 2 levels. This is the crypt level. This was originally designed as a mausoleum. They were going to put people's remains in the walls, but they changed their mind. There is no one buried in the walls. All these names are people from all over the country, different parts of the world, very generous people, left money for us in their wills oftentimes to help build this magnificent basilica. So we honor them in perpetuity for their generosity here. As you walk around, you'll probably notice some familiar names. Catholic saints are up there. Elizabeth Ann Seton, who founded parochial schools. John McEnroe's family, the tennis player. The most famous name up here is Babe Ruth. Oh, he's on a pillar on the far side over there, George Herman Ruth. And even though no one is buried in the walls, we do have one person who is buried here in this basilica. This would be he in here, Bishop Thomas Shahan. Without him, we would not be standing here at all. I'm going to take you in here, tell you a little bit about him, and then we're going to go upstairs and show you the great upper church, which is why you really came here, to see the largest Catholic church in North America. Come on in here for a few minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here, then we're going to go upstairs. I'm going to take you down the main aisle. We're going to sit in the pews in the very front. And if you want, I'm going to take you up onto the altar itself. Then we're going to finish the tour. We're going to come back down the back steps. And our original church on this crypt level at the far end here was the church that was opened back in 1924. That's Easter Sunday it was. Is that when it started? No, we started in 1920 when Bishop Shahan, after having the idea, after studying in Europe and seeing the great cathedrals in Europe, thinking to himself America deserved a similar kind of church, took his idea that Pope, through their Pope Pius X, the so-called Pope of the Eucharist, he was the one. In the Catholic faith, children receive their first Holy Communion when they are 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Prior to that, it was just adults. That was his idea. He was a very forward-looking pope. Anyhow, he was so taken with Bishop Shahan's idea to build this church in Washington, D.C., that in 1913, when he approached him, Pope reached in his pocket and reportedly gave him $400 on the spot. Big deal. You're not going to build a church with $400, even though it was in lira and way back then. But what he really got is what he sought. He got the endorsement he sought. So he came back, sat with architects, sat with his architect. They planned this basilica, and it looks today as they envisioned it then. They laid that cornerstone in 1920, which means this church is 105 years old. They started work. They finally opened that crypt church at the far end here that you're going to see at the end of the tour. Everything was moving along. And then the bottom fell out. Anything that could go wrong did. The Great Depression did. Then in 1932, Bishop Shahan died. Took the spirit out of everybody. This was his idea. People were demoralized. Then World War II came along. Nothing was happening in those years. Finally, in 1954, after the war, they started building anew, and the upstairs church where we're about to go was finally opened in 1959. Our church was finished, just finished, in 2017. What took so long then? Well, as you walked up, you make a walk. Those of you that were parked down and below, you trudged up the hill there, and you notice the top of our church. You can't miss it. It has a big dome. That dome is almost identical in size to the Capitol Rotunda. Well, the interior of that dome, all those intervening years, was just plain concrete. The dream, one day, to cover it with a giant mosaic that would pay tribute to all of America's saints and the most recent popes and angels. Well, it took a lot of time to raise money. We had to find people who did that kind of work. They found them in Italy. They brought them over here. And for 2 years, the pews were taken out upstairs. There was scaffolding. There were elevators up there. Painstakingly, 14 million pieces of cut Venetian glass. a magnificent mosaic called the Great Trinity Dome, finished on December 8th, 2017. December 8th is the feast day of the Immaculate Conception, our namesake here. So when you see it, it is just magnificent. We're going to be sitting beneath it. I'll point out some of the people that are out there. So you get to see the finished church, which is good for you. But for us tour guides, for Alex and me, it's not so great because we have no more coming attractions. The church is done. The church is done. My former career before I retired, I was a television weatherman here in Washington on Channel 7. And we television weathermen are fond of saying, is this going to be a snowy winter? Tune in tonight at 11, I'll have your answer. It's always teasing, you got to come back, you got to come back. So it is, this church, as I say, it is finished. Bishop Shahan himself never lived to see his dream realized. He is beneath the slab. Inside this sarcophagus are his mitre and his crozier. He was a great Irishman. That's a death mask. And this church is named in, this chapel here is named in his honor. This is the Founder's Chapel. We have 80 rooms like this, 80 chapels, named for countries and religious orders. What happens in these chapels? This is not a museum. A lot of people come here having been to the Smithsonian museums, and we know the look. They walk into that glazed look. And other more pretty things. They're walking around. Well, yes, we have beautiful art here, the world's largest collection of modern ecclesiastical art. But masses, our services, take place in each of these chapels. In a chapel, you have to have an altar. If the altar is against the wall, like this one, you know it's an older chapel. The newer chapels have the altars out front, so instead of having his back to the congregation, the priest is facing out, thanks to John the 23rd of the Vatican II Council. Who says Mass in these chapels? Any priest can walk in and show us his credentials. We'll give the key to a sacristy, we'll give him vestments, and he can say Mass all by himself or with a small group. It happens all the time. You can hear languages from all over the world, many Masses taking place here simultaneously. Probably the most famous person to ever say Mass in one of these chapels was Pope Leo. He was here 2 years ago when he was just Reverend Robert Prevost. He came in and signed the register. We don't have any pictures, unfortunately, but we hope he will come back as Pope and grace us with his presence. This church, you're from a Christian church. Do you call the people that belong to your church, is that considered a parish? Catholics have parishes where people belong to parishioners. This is not a parish church. This church is a pilgrimage church. We exist because of you and for you. Pilgrims who come here to visit from different states and countries. Oftentimes we have thousands of people here for pilgrimages. 2 weeks ago, over 4,000 people came on 68 buses from Brooklyn. Spent the whole day here, processions upstairs, confessions in all of these chapels here, a Mass. So they took 5 hours to get here. They spent the day with us in 5 hours. It is a long, long day for them, a pilgrimage. Because we're not a parish church, we don't have parishioners, all of us are volunteers. We don't offer all the Catholic sacraments. We don't baptize children here. We don't have weddings here. Only rarely do we have funerals. If we did those things, that's all we would do. Everyone must have their child baptized here. Antonin Scalia, the Supreme Court, who died a few years ago, he used to worship here. He was buried from here with his son, who is a priest officiating his dad's ceremony. And only one wedding in the last 105 years. If you remember, President Lyndon Johnson had 2 daughters. That family was Baptist. Lucy Baines converted to Catholicism, and she and her fiancé, Patrick Nugent, saw this church and decided we would like to get married here. So Daddy must have picked up the phone. It helps if your dad is the president, or she got to walk down the aisle. We don't even permit wedding parties to take pictures on the grounds here because it's a beautiful backdrop. Because again, people would be here all the time taking pictures. So a pilgrimage church, not a parish church. Come on with me. Let me show you a memorabilia out here before I take you upstairs. We do have an elevator right down here, and those of you who would like to take the elevator, by all means. To be made has nothing to do with size. It has everything to do with geography. The only major basilicas are within the confines of Vatican City. There are 4 of them there. All 34 basilicas in America are considered minor basilicas. Indeed, all of them around the world. And when Pope Francis was here he is sitting in the chair we built for him. There's the pulpit we built for him, his ambo. When he died, when Francis died, you know he was a very simple man. You can see the evidence of that. That chair that was built for him has the papal symbol. Here in the picture, it's missing. He didn't want it. He wanted no extraordinary, no excessive ornamentation. So when he died, he was buried in one of the major basilicas in Vatican City, the same one where he had his very simple apartment. He eschewed the very fancy one in the Vatican that most popes inhabit. So he was much loved here. He was here 10 years ago, 2015. We had a cutout of him on the other side. There, a life-size cutout. And people would walk up here, and their necks would snap because he looked so real. And people would go over, we would laugh, they would take pictures with him, they'd put their arms around him, you know. And we used to joke, I bet these people are going home saying, guess who I met in Washington? I saw the Pope. And Pope Benedict, he was here in 2008. There's a chair for him at the far end down there. And as I say, John Paul II was here in 1979. And we're hoping that Leo does come and visit us. And the chapel directly across over there, of the 80 chapels, you can see the gold one in there, that gold wooden one, the Immaculate Heart of Mary, Mary's heart pierced by a sword of sorrow from Luke in the Bible. That's the chapel where Leo said Mass in August of 2023. Let's take you upstairs.
Where is the elevator?
Right down here.
Okay.
He was buried at National City Christian Church.
I do remember
His
that.
funeral was
Is that
there.
not Thomas Circle? What's that circle?
Thomas
Circle, yeah.
Yeah, because he was a lifelong disciple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's
it.
learned something today.
We're going to go through the second set of double doors here.
There we go. All right, thank you. Wow. Oh, come inside, Marsha. Yeah. Remind you that you're watching Shippy the Explorer, and we're getting a tour, special tour today with the National Basilica.
Great Upper Church, largest Catholic church in North America, one of the 10 largest churches in the world. Just to orient you, that is the front of the church. That's the south side, the steps where hill you climbed. At either end of this narthex here, you can see you can see a statue down there, the Blessed Virgin Mary with a waterful crystal chandelier above her head. We started in the Irish chapel, also known as the Founders Chapel downstairs. Bishop Shane was a great Irishman. That is the Irish oratory. Difference, no altar in there, no service in there. A place of repose. You can sit in there. There is a wishing well. Mary is sitting atop hexagonal columns just like the real ones you see in Ireland, on the coast of Ireland. You see them on the coast of Scotland, called the Giant's Causeway. The legend of a giant walking on those to get over to Ireland. We want you to feel like you're in that country. All these chapels, we want it to be an immersive experience. So if you go to Ireland, it rains a lot. So the window in there is translucent. It filters the light so it's purposely gloomy. And it looks like some of the lights are burned out in that chandelier. No, those are shafts of sunlight coming through raindrops. So if you walk in this front door on the day when there's a pilgrimage and there are thousands of people here, and it seems like an airport and it's noisy, and you just want a place of quiet repose, go and sit in there. The Crypt Church downstairs where we're going to finish, the original church, Alex and I are not allowed in there. That's another place reserved for private prayer. You come in here and you want to be close to your God in a place, and you don't want to hear us talking, you don't want to hear all this, go in there and you will not be disturbed. There's a white sign here by that door. In the Catholic faith, every 25 years we have something called the Jubilee year. This is the Jubilee year proclaimed by Pope Francis. Pope Francis started this year. And if you come through that door, virtually, because the only one you actually go through is in Rome, you get special indulgences, clean indulgences. If you pray, you go to confession and mass, and say a prayer for the Pope. So you get those benefits through this year. Come on in. Overwhelming. I heard a couple gasps when we walked through the door. And Bishop Shahan would be very happy at that reaction. He also wanted people who came here for the first time to immediately feel welcome. And I hope you felt that. And architecturally, it was designed that way. This is so unlike the Washington National Cathedral, that Gothic church up on Wisconsin Avenue. I think Dick Cheney's funeral is taking place today or tomorrow. He has a place for state funerals. Jimmy Carter's was there. If you walk into that church, if you've ever been there, you'll see, instead of rounded arches, you'll see a severity. You'll see sharp angles. You'll see flying buttresses. You will not see domes like we have in this church here. You will not see these ornamented chapels on either side as we're going to walk up here. So different. Gothic versus Romanesque. Romanesque and Byzantine features in here. So if you walk up here, and we're going to walk you all the way up to the front there, we'll sit in the front pews up there, and I'll tell you a little bit about the altar and about some of the things we're going to see along the side here. But before we do that, turn around if you would, and look at the largest single piece of carved marble on earth, called the Universal Call to Holiness.
Wow.
The dove up there represents the Holy Spirit, Catholic faith, God the Father, God the Son, God and the Holy Spirit. There are 52 figures on that piece of marble. The largest is the Blessed Virgin Mary here to the left, which is appropriate. This is her house. This is the preeminent Marian shrine in America. This is her house, this hymn in stone. There's no steel in this building. It's not like a skyscraper. It's our marble and stone and mortar. And unlike the Washington National Cathedral, that Gothic church that has very thin walls, we have very thick walls here, which is why 13 years ago during our earthquake, which badly damaged that Washington National Cathedral and the Washington Monument, we had no damage here whatsoever. Notice the seams up there. This came over in one piece in Italy in 1999 on our 40th anniversary. But it was so big and unwieldy, they could not get it up there in one piece, despite all of their architectural skill. So you can see where they had to cut it, and they had to piece it back together. Doesn't detract from its magnificence. It weighs 32 tons, which is why they had such a problem getting it up there. They had to reinforce that wall behind it to make sure it was going to stay in place. A couple other people up there that you might recognize. John Paul II, the Pope, is over there to the left. You start from the dove. If you come down at about 9:15, you'll see him with his mitre on his head over there, looking up in profile. Okay. On the opposite side, come down from the dove. If it's a clock face, look at about 3:20, and you'll see 3 or 4 little heads looking up in profile. And the woman with the veil on her head is Mother Teresa of Calcutta.
Yeah.
A saint who loved this church, visited 5 separate times. And I'll tell you more about her because she's up in that great Trinity Dome I'm going to show you. Above that piece of marble is our organ, which has 9,220 pipes. Pipes behind pipes behind pipes. 49 pontifical trumpets. World-class choir. And when they are all performing, which they do Christmas Eve and Easter morning, church kind of shakes. The music comes up your legs and the hair stands up in the back of your neck.
Yes,
It's a kind of mystical experience. They had something like that take place just past Saturday during an international day of prayer. And the choir was up on the altar and they were singing the Battle Hymn of the Republic. People just teared up. It was just that the emotion, the patriotic fervor of that was just wonderful. Come on up front with me.
When was the organ put in?
Okay, this organ was there. It was in place in 1959, so that has been there originally. Come on up, please. And as you walk up here, you'll see chapels on either side. The one on your left is the Miraculous Medal Chapel. A lot of Catholic children start life with a miraculous medal. And notice the little pews in there. On the right is Our Lady of the Rosary, a newer chapel with the altar away from the wall. Stairs in there, again, letting you know, yeah, this is a working house of worship. It's not a museum. Come on up here. I was telling you we have 80 chapels here. The one that's most visited is the one coming up on your left. If you look through that marble archway there, you'll see Our Lady of Guadalupe, the patroness of the Americas. And some of you, well, you'll notice that this is the only chapel filled with flowers. Why? Why are we putting them there and nowhere else? We don't put them in there. We're not a parish church. We have no parishioners here. That is done by neighbors in this area here who treat this as their parish. A lot of Hispanics in the neighborhood here. So they leave those flowers there every day without fail. And at Christmas, you can't get in there. It's so filled with poinsettias and our other flowers. Why? Well, some of you know the story. That image of the Blessed Virgin Mary, the only one we have where she was pregnant, you can see by the position of her hands. One of our saints, Saint Diego, it was a man in Mexico, and he was minding his own business, and the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared to him and asked him to go to the local bishop to please build a church in her honor. Well, he did as he was told. Well, Juan Diego went in there, and the bishop, you know, here's this scruffy guy with this cloak made of cactus fiber and probably unwashed. He was dismissed as delusional. Well, the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared again, asked Juan to please open up that cloak, and she filled it with a dozen red roses and left that image of herself on that cloak, like the Shroud of Turin. Well, when he went back with that evidence, well, you know what happened. Bishop, all right, I believe. And they built that church. And it's there today, a major pilgrimage site. On the walls of that chapel, you can't see it from here, but it's a mosaic that curves people from all of the Americas. You can see coal miners, you can see Native Americans, you can see the Grand Canyon, the Rocky Mountains and the walls in there. You can see conquistadors and matadors and people from South and Central America, all in procession to the Blessed Virgin Mary. And I remember one of the first tours I ever took, I was coming out of there, and there were women waiting to go in, all holding candles, some of them on their knees, waiting to go in. And the woman, she said to me, I'll never forget it, she said, in the future, sir, when you leave this chapel, would you please walk out backwards as a sign of respect? Do not turn your back on Our Lady. I never forgot that.
Look at the shot
This
of
may
it.
be the biggest church in North America, Catholic Church, but it's the small place that is not congested.
Ito, ano, ito. Lady of Guadalupe.
Just for that.
Good.
That's beautiful.
It is one of the most popular chapels, one of the commodious chapels here, most commodious because it is there's so many Polish people from here to come and worship Our Lady of Shaluba, the Lithuanian chapel. Lithuania has the bad luck to be next to the Soviet Union. They used to be dominated by the Soviets and Catholics were persecuted. But they were taught in the past. It was simply such so to get even the Catholics and Protestants, the complete process and and the fourth country, now again, a NATO country being threatened by the Russians this time. Come on up here.
Remind you of watching Shippy the Explorer on a special tour of National Basilica in Washington, D.C.
As you were walking up the aisle, so many things to notice. You might have noticed that the marble in here, different colors. Why doesn't it match? 25 different states and countries contributed marble to building this basilica. It is mostly Italian, however. And then the balconies up there. Who gets to go in the balconies? That's not open to the public. Cameras go up there. Oftentimes we put our services, we stream them. We air them on different channels. And it's also, it's our storage area. You know those rooms at home where you throw everything? That's where we throw stuff up there. Yeah, that's right. So, you're sitting beneath the Great Trinity Dome. I told you about downstairs, 14 million pieces of cut Venetian glass. Don't they look like paintings? Yeah. They sure do look like paintings to me, too. Again, almost identical in size to the Capitol Rotunda. From here to the lights is 5.5 stories. So imagine all the scaffolding, all the pews gone here, drop cloths, noisy, dusty. We persevered. We had masses during that whole 2-year period. But finally, on December 8th of 2017, it was unveiled to great acclaim, The words going around the circumference there, the perimeter, are the words to a prayer we Catholics say after the gospel and the sermon, the homily, called the Nicene Creed. Mm-hmm. I believe in one God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, that goes all the way around. And who's up there? The Trinity. There's God the Son in red, God the Father in green, and in between you see that dove, that's the Trinity. And then the people up there, I was telling you, American saints and popes and angels up there. I'm not going to go all the way around. I ask you to sit down so you don't faint on me. I do this after a while. Oh my gosh, you're getting woozy, Dave. You're getting woozy. wish I had mirrors for you like they give you in Sistine Chapel in Rome. But I'll give you just a sampling of who's up there. Next to God the Son and God the Son in red is Michael the Archangel with the big sword. And next to him, there's Mother Teresa in that white sari with the blue edging. And Mother Teresa, I told you she loved this church. And if you go onto her website, you can see Mother Teresa walking down this aisle that you just walked down with her Sisters of Charity, looking exactly like this. About 4'6". Tiny, tiny lady. If she could see herself today, she's 16 feet tall now. She could dunk a basketball and never leave the floor. Probably saying, why didn't I get those tall jeans when I was here on earth? And next to her, the man in that brown cassock is the newest Catholic saint, Father Junipero Serra from California, built the missions in California. And American saints are canonized. The only American saint ever canonized on American soil was he, by Pope Francis in 2015. And there's a statue of him outside as well. Now you can see other saints up there. If you, the man with the mop, St. Martin de Porres from Peru, and then 4 American women, Catherine Ann Drexel from the very wealthy family in Philadelphia, philanthropic family. Next to her in the brown habit, the black habit holding the book is Elizabeth Ann Seton, who did most of her work in Western Maryland. She founded Catholic schools. Rose Duchesne, Frenchwoman, naturalized American citizen, built schools for girls, lower Mississippi Valley. Last one I'll point out to you, the young lady in the brown smock up there, an American saint by the name of Kateri Tekakwitha, a Native American girl. They called her the Lily of the Mohawks. She and Francis of Assisi are considered the patrons of the environment and ecology. Her story is sad because she and her whole family were afflicted with smallpox. That terrible scarring disease killed so many people around the world. And it's always gratifying to me when we have school groups here, which we do often, and the kid will say, "What's smallpox?"
Oh.
And it's always nice to assure them that that's in the rear view mirror. Those of us of a certain age still have the little scar on our upper arm where we had to be vaccinated against smallpox, but something we wiped off the face of the earth. She died with smallpox at age 24. Wow. And the story is that all of the scarring on her face disappeared upon her death. To be a saint, 3 miracles have to be attributed to you. Great research goes into that. Downstairs, there's a temporary exhibit of a Saint Therese of Lisieux, a French woman who was canonized, who both her parents are canonized. Her relics will be here starting tomorrow for 3 days. So
Really?
We're going to have that here, veneration of those relics. And on Saturday, this past Saturday, we had relics of 2 new saints, Padre Pio from Italy, and some of you might have heard the story of the young man, Carlos Acusa, who he was into computers. He was a regular kid, but he was canonized recently by Pope was it Pope Francis or Pope Leo who canonized?
Pope Francis.
Pope Francis, yes. So a great shot in the arm for Catholics, especially young people, to see that they can rise to that level. Before I want to take you up onto the altar. We're running a little late, but I think we'll be okay. If you want to, I can take you up onto the altar and walk around the back and come down
Yes,
those
please.
steps, and then take you downstairs. Maybe I can just tell you about it. That might be easier. Because I know some of you have stick pains and all that. Let me just tell you. Right in front of you here, you can see a table, the altar, with kind of the orangish pink columns. That was built for Pope Francis expressly. When he was here in 2015, just outside those doors over there, he had an outdoor mass. Wonderful day. After it was finished, they brought that altar in. That's the altar we now use for all of our services. Why? It's so much closer to where we are. He can face the congregation. If you look in the back, that big domed altar back there, that's a period piece. That's the way they used to build altars for Catholic churches in the 1940s and 50s and 60s. I remember growing up in Pittsburgh when I was an altar boy. We had an altar that looked exactly like that. Not as big. Every Catholic church had one. but it's so remote, and priests used to have their back to the congregation. So it is no longer used. If you look behind that domed altar called a baldachin, which means canopied, you can see a mosaic, Christ with his arms outstretched, called Christ in Majesty. The original piece of art in this basilica. People who walked in the door, 1959, the only things they could see, the pews where you're sitting, the domed altar, and that mosaic, Christ in Majesty. Everything else has been added subsequently. And his arms are outstretched. I know you can't see as well from here as you can directly beneath him, but God has piercing black eyes, and his eyebrows are slightly different. The one on the right is slightly more arched than the one on the left, purposely so, because the artist shows two different emotions. On the right-hand side, he is the Lord of the Apocalypse. He is angry. He looks angry. He is upset that people are disobeying commandments, committing sins. But on the left-hand side, with that slightly flatter eyebrow, it changes his whole countenance. He now becomes the understanding good shepherd. He knows we're not perfect, we're just human. He's not holding grudges, all in one face. And the artist, John de Rossen, he was Polish, he made God human. He gave him a bare shoulder. There's a wound on his side up there where the soldiers stabbed him when he was on the cross. Put stubble on his face. His hands are outstretched. Each hand is 5 feet tall to give you a sense of the scale. You can see the stigmata where he was nailed to the cross up there. And his hands are outstretched to show that he has dominion over the entire universe. The sacristy is up those steps where the priests put on their vestments, come out to say Mass. And on the far side over here is another no-go place for us docents called the Blessed Sacrament Chapel. There's a tabernacle over there with the Blessed Sacrament on display every day but Good Friday. Place reserved for private prayer. And then, again, you come in here during the pilgrimage, you just want to find a place to pray in peace and quiet. Let's go back downstairs and show you the crypt church. Sure. All right? I think we can do that. We'll go back down this way, and Alex, if you want to take them on a shortcut, I'll go back down the elevator. Okay? I'm going to take them down the steps over here. The King of Hungary, everything in there. You can see Hungarian saints. If you speak Hungarian, on the inside of the wall, you can read what it says, but there's also an English translation. And each of our chapels have kneelers to explain some of the history of these chapels here. And a lot of them, as beautiful as they are, the calligraphy is almost illegible. So if you want to take something as a nice souvenir here, and Alex and I, we don't get commissions or anything. We're all volunteers. In the gift shop right next to the cash register is a new edition of our paperback guidebook. It's $5. It shows you everything in the Basilica, all the history, colored pictures. I reread it all the time. It humbles me because it lets me know how little I really know about the Basilica. And there's what fascinates me mostly the listing of all the people over the years who have been there, different popes and prelates and political figures. And in 1941, guess who came here to sing in the crypt church? Started the war. The Von Trapp family singers.
Oh, yeah?
From The Sound of Music. That's kind of cool.
They use all this fine, they use all this fine tiles to capture the old picture.
I always think they always have like this giant thimble on his head. And I always thought, how could he keep it on there because it looks so heavy? It is not all that heavy, but it is encrusted with gold and silver and their precious stones on there. To his mind, it sent the wrong message about the church. It's not just all about money. So he asked the Cardinal of New York back then, Cardinal Spellman, to take that on a tour around the world to raise money for the poor, which he did. We have a poor box right over there. And at the conclusion of that tour, it was given to us. And that gold stole was worn by Pope John the 23rd at the opening of the Vatican II Council, given to him on his 80th birthday. And with specific instructions that on his death, it was to be given to us. So we have priceless Catholic memorabilia here on display. Come up here. Catherine Andrews from Philadelphia. You saw her upstairs in the big Trinity Dome, those schools for African American children, which leads the West. Her family built a still bankroll Xavier University in New Orleans, country's first Catholic college. And over here you can see our newest addition, this statue of the young man, Blessed McGivney, parish priest in Connecticut, died at age 38. Very short life, pneumonia during a pandemic. But in his short life, he founded the Knights of Columbus, which is a Catholic group of men. All of our ushers here are Knights of Columbus. The big bell tower you saw outside, that is the Knights Tower, 329 feet tall, dwarfed by the Washington Monument at 555, but because we are 200 feet above sea level, we are on a par. And because we have people here, and the Washington Monument does not, we are the tallest habitable building in the city of Washington. Yes, yes. So we're hoping that Blessed McGivney, he is on the road to canonization. So we hope that takes place soon. But without the Knights of Columbus, they also built one of those domes upstairs, that bankroll. They have been our partners here over all these years. Come on up here, please. You'll see the Lebanese chapel, number 80 there. Again, looking like the Middle East. Purpose.
Salute.
We echoed.
A lot of marble. A lot of marble.
This is Our Lady of Lourdes. Those of you know about Lourdes, France. This is where people go by the hundreds of thousands because of the story of that young girl, Bernadette Soubrio. Wonderful movie, The Song of Bernadette, won an Academy Award. And Bernadette herself is on the wall in there in the stone relief. When you go in, normally, I'm not allowed to talk in here, but there's nobody in here praying, so come on in right now.
Oh. Ooh. Feel how warm it is?
If you know the story of Bernadette, she went into a cave in France. Blessed Virgin Mary appeared to her, the apparition, and that's what she said to Bernadette. I am the Immaculate Conception. All right, that's our namesake. This altar here used to be a practice altar. Young men who were about to be ordained priests would come in here when this was a classroom. And practice saying Mass here. This chapel opened in 1931. You can see the age in the stones here. We have a wonderful staff here, as you can see the young lady over there. Everything in here is spotless. This is not dirty, it just shows you the age of the basilica. You can see paintings that have faded on the beams up above there. You can see confessionals over there, pitch black. We don't use them anymore. If you go in there, always use your cell phone light so you don't hit your head. And there's a white stone behind this right here, this fence, that was in the dungeon where Joan of Arc was held the night before she was burned at the stake, a gift from the government of France. So This place, I think you can maybe just appreciate, we wanted to recreate what that cave was like. So it was kind of warm and dank and humid in here. We want you to feel you're in France and experiencing what Bernadette did. You know, a lot of young people, they don't know anything about Bernadette, and they don't know why people go to Lourdes. They go there to drink the water, they bathe in the water, hoping for a miracle. If you saw that story on 60 Minutes, they repeated it twice. People go there and miracles take place. These are people who are severely disabled oftentimes, deaf, blind. It's their last hope. Have miracles ever happened as a result of those visits? Yes. 72 have been authenticated. In 60 Minutes, I spotlighted this nun who was never able to walk, and she had been to Lourdes, and she was able to walk again. And they have a whole panel of doctors who have to authenticate that there is no medical reason for what happens that did happen. So this doctor was there, and he said, we send these cases out. 300 people have to sign on. 300 people, 300 doctors to authenticate those miracles. So it is, and at night, 60 Minutes showed lights, candles, as far as the eye can see, people who come to Lourdes hoping for some kind of relief from what they're suffering from. So I think maybe you can feel the intimacy of this place. You can see why this would be a draw for people to come in who just want to pray. So that's why this is off limits for most times. I want to show you this, the African chapel here, then I want to take you down and I'll let you go into the crypt church and I'll leave you there. All right? Come on. Did you?
This is African.
And each black line represents a slave in bondage. So as you're coming across the ocean in that ship, and you look up and you see the mahogany ceiling of your ship, you look up in the marble and you see the waves and the fish on either side of you. As you're coming over to the new world, a perilous journey, you're never going home again. Each black line represents slaves were considered 3/5 of a person. If you look over here, this is one of the most popular pieces of art in the Basilica. Come on in here so you can see it. The whole African American experience. From slavery, landing in the New World. Look at the treatment here. Look at the emotion on the faces here. Here's a whole family for sale. Picking cotton in the South. More degrading experiences, more humiliation. Here you can see the Underground Railroad depicted. Here's the civil rights movements, the 1950s and 60s with the placards. And somehow, through all of this, sustaining them, the Holy Spirit and Our Lady over there, there's the Christ child pointing at this, as if to say, how can you treat people like that? And what's remarkable, the artist who did this, Ed Dwight, he's a Washingtonian. He, after all of this, he has this modern African-American family stepping out of that history behind them, thanking the Holy Spirit and Christ for sustaining them. They're smiling. They have stepped out of that history. They have survived. And you can see up there, Christ on the cross, carved from a solid block of ebony by a tribe in Tanzania called the Makonde. That is so well done. You can even count the ribs on Christ's torso up there. Years ago, I was a Peace Corps volunteer in East Africa, and I have art from that tribe that looks nothing like that. Mine is very rough-hewn, so I can really appreciate the artistry to do that. And if you look at Christ over there, and look at his foot, you'll see that it's golden. So many people have rubbed that foot over the last 22 years that it has burnished that bronze.
Okay.
And people say, well, Dave, can I rub that foot? I said, I'm not looking. I didn't tell you couldn't touch anything. I told you could take pictures. But you know, I was talking about how the Battle Hymn of the Republic elicited tears the other day. A lot of times, I will turn around in these chapels and I will see people teary-eyed because they're looking at their history. Or they'll be in a chapel upstairs, the Lithuanian chapel, and the suffering that those people went through at the hands of the Soviets. So what we hope is, as you go through on these tours here, and I'm sorry to hustle you through so fast, is that it has some emotional impact. And it's not just this is this and this is that and all these dates and everything. Hopefully you leave and something touched you in some way here. That's what we're hoping for. So if rubbing that foot helps you to make that connection, by all means go rub it. You cannot hurt that. You cannot hurt that. And just a little sideline, Ed Dwight, who designed this chapel, you might have read about him in the paper. He was an original Mercury astronaut. Never got to fly because of discrimination. Recently, Jeff Bezos took him up on a Blue Horizon rocket on his 90th birthday. Ed finally got to fly after all these years. So satisfying a story. Let me take you down the steps here to the Crypt Church. I can't go in there with you, but I hope you'll take some time to explore. I'll tell you about it. It went to the bottom of the steps here because I know you've got places to be. What time do you have to be somewhere here?
No.
Okay.
Right. Retired folks. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. No rush. We're just going to lunch. Take a picture.
This is a section dedicated to the African Americans, slavery. Wow, you know to use your camera. Slavers or slave.
Something piques your interest and you want to go back and find out a little bit more, spend as much time here as you would like. Can you go back on the main altar? You can walk down there. Service here. The altar there, that white altar, almost didn't get built because they ran out of money during construction. So the bishops of America asked American women whose first name was Mary, or Marion, or Margot, or something close to Mary, to put a $1 bill, if you would please, in an envelope, just address at National Shrine, Washington, D.C. Help us finish the Mary altar. Well, back then, a buck was the buck, worth a buck. They got enough money to finish that altar, so every one of those Mary's names is inside that altar to this day. You talk about a good investment? $1. Perpetual homage here in the Basilica of the National Shrine. 15 different national chapels here. We've got passageways. Go through the passageways. Infinite progress there. Go back and see the Philippine chapel where the cornerstone is laid. Go through the passageway on the left and you'll see a big golden icon, Our Lady of India from the subcontinent. And if you remember the entertainer Bob Hope, go to the left here. You'll see Our Lady of Hope Chapel. Bob and his wife Dolores built that because they were great benefactors. She was a Catholic, he was not. And just past that, you'll see a big wall of stained glass. Looks imposing. Push it. Those are doors. And on the other side are the confessional areas where you see a giant statue of St. John Newman in Philadelphia. But even if you don't want to walk all the way around, just go in and sit in the pews there and just look around. And you'll feel the history of this church. Remember this church here. Remember, 101 years ago is when this opened. Everything else was built atop it. So I always like to go back and look at the pictures of the development of this site here. And to see this, when they just had folding chairs in there and just some rudimentary thing, it's amazing what has happened in these 105 years here that we've been around. I'm talking a lot. Thank you for your attention here this morning. Can you find your way back?
Yeah.
Can you find, just walk up these steps here and stay close to the wall. We'll take you all the way back. I would suggest that you go to the Mary Garden, which is behind the church here, which is beautiful with fountains and statues. Kind of cold out there right now. And all the leaves are off the trees, so it's not as beautiful as it normally is, but it's still a wonderful place to go. All right. God bless you all.
Thank you so much.
Let's go in. Let's go in and sit down.
Do what?
We're going and sit down. Seems like there's. Oh my golly. This is even more dramatic than the big one.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my golly. Oh, go ahead. Come up here. Where? Doesn't see. Yes, it has a general.
It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yes, there's a general time. This is the original chapel. And everything else was built around this.
So, we have come to an end of the tour, the official tour, and this is Shippy the Explorer. And so we have gotten a wonderful tour of the Basilica, and you hope you are enjoying it and feeling spiritual and moved as we were.
Beautiful group of people. We came
as disciples of Christ, and well, with this magnificent setting, we're almost converted to Catholicism, but well, we all have the similar faith. Well, thanks for watching, and we have a few more
You know how to do it? Okay. Anybody not know how to do this Trader Joe's?
So,
Yep,
we're,
yep. So we're gonna
there's
go
the
over
Trader
there.
Joe's right
It might be
across from
lunchtime, might be
Potbelly's,
this, but-
and we're going to park in there.
Okay.
And yes, have you ever been in a Trader Joe's? Okay, well, we'll get a ticket, and then we'll just get it validated. I run in and get it validated.
All right.
If I sit in the back, can we take Marshall?
Oh, yes. Yeah. We have a lot of space. You know the direction? You know where you're going?
Yes.
Okay. So you plug your... All right, so that's the conclusion for this official tour. God bless us all. So if you see the light, you know we're back outside. So how about that tour? Shippy the Explorer is saying that was wonderful. And here we are. Where's Shirley? Sure. Oh, come, we're out here. Okay. All right. You think you can walk that far? Okay. Anyway, well, at this time now I say, bless you. Take care of yourself and others. And
hey,
see,
what's up?
See, you say, ¿qué tal? Oh, good. Here we are.
Everybody but Shirley. Are we coming back for her?
No, she's coming. Yeah. We go down and warm up. That's it, folks. Take care. Bye for now. Well, here we are. Since we're in Washington, D.C., we're just going to show you that's where we were, over by the shrine. And we are now on Monroe Street. And this was quite of a rundown area some years ago until we built those buildings across to the right. And Catholic U. Oh, I was confused. The Chipotle is here. And we're going to Potbelly, Scott's favorite place. Okay. Where's Marshall? Where's Marshall?
You're not coming. For what?
Oh, but they're driving with me home.
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe they are here.
Huh. I think Barbara went to validate the went to validate the ticket. So we just go in, and here we are, Potbelly's. Okay. Woo.
Shirley's here.
Yeah. You want to capture this table? Oh, we're holding this?
We got a table.
All right, good.
I'm the early bird.
I don't know. You know their food? Menu over there.
Huh?
Menu over there. What do you want?
Chicken salad sandwich.
You saw that already?
I don't know, but that's what I want.
Well, this was a favorite place for a friend of ours, folks, and Potbelly's. He would say every time we have somewhere to go, he says, Potbelly's. And when he's going home at night, I think he stops at Potbelly's. I'm telling you, food must be good. And here we are. Basilica, the menu is hard to wrap our hands around.